quiet streets of Elizabeth City were still when the first frantic knocks echoed through the darkness. A blood-spattered wife staggered onto her neighbor's porch, sobbing that a masked intruder had murdered her husband.
911, location emergency. My next door neighbor just came and knocked on my door. When I went to the door, she's crying and she says she thinks her husband is dead. She's at my house right now.
Minutes later, deputies entered a house frozen in chaos. Drawers ripped out, valuables scattered, a beloved antiques dealer bound and lifeless on the bathroom floor. It looked like a robbery gone wrong, until the autopsy whispered, strangulation. The back door key lay too neatly in plain sight, and a secret lover 3,000 miles away began to crack under the weight of his own confession.
What I did was a horrible thing, and I will either get life in prison or I will get the death penalty.
When he sent you messages about murdering your husband and asking you to assist him in that, why did you call the police?
What do you forgot? What do you mean?
What unfolded next exposed a chilling affair, a staged crime scene, and a betrayal so calculated it left 7 children and an entire community reeling. This is the story of how love curdled into lethal obsession and how a perfect alibi unraveled thread by thread. Milton Henry Sawyer Jr. was born in 1963 into a well-blended family in Elizabeth City. Surrounded by siblings, half-siblings, and step-siblings, Milton was the charismatic center of attention. His father instilled in him a lifelong passion for antiques and collectibles, a passion that would shape his destiny. After a brief, unsatisfying stint in data management at the University of North Carolina, Milton embraced his true calling. By the early 2000s, he proudly opened the Treasure Hunter, a shop specializing in antiques, collectibles, and gold buying. The store quickly flourished, becoming a beloved local fixture. Yet despite professional success, Milton's personal life bore deep wounds from a failed marriage. As a divorcee juggling single fatherhood with entrepreneurship, he yearned for a stable, loving home. In 2011, Milton's life changed dramatically when he met Angel Kessinger at their children's school. Angel, herself weathering a painful divorce and raising 4 children, quickly bonded with Milton over shared struggles and dreams of family. By the time Angel's divorce was finalized, the friendship had turned into romance. Milton and Angel began dating and quickly became inseparable. In 2012, they married, bringing together their 2 families into one. The newlyweds moved into Milton's home in Elizabeth City and set about creating a blended family of 7 children under one roof. Despite a 10-year age difference between them, Milton and Angel seemed well matched to outsiders, and she quickly stepped into her role as Milton's wife and business partner. Angel embraced her new role as a business partner, transforming the Treasure Hunter into a more inviting, successful enterprise. Milton showered Angel with affection and gifts, confident he'd finally achieved his dream of a perfect family. But beneath this facade, troubling cracks were beginning to form. As the years passed, subtle signs of strain began to show in Milton and Angel's once happy union. Milton's relatives observed that she could be demanding and self-centered, and about 6 years into the marriage, Milton started confiding in his brother David and other siblings that all was not well at home. Angel was increasingly hard to please. Her appetite for luxury and attention appeared insatiable. David later recalled that no matter what Milton did to try to keep Angel happy, it was never enough for Angel. By mid-2018, Milton's frustration was boiling over. Around this same time, Milton also harbored growing suspicions that Angel was being unfaithful. His concerns revolved around a man who had recently entered their lives, 38-year-old Isaac Dustin Melcher, a physical therapist whom Angel had started seeing after a car accident. Angel's sessions with Isaac initially seemed routine, but Milton sensed something was off. Angel appeared in unusually high spirits whenever Isaac's name came up, and she was eager to attend physical therapy appointments, even after her injuries had healed. Milton's jealousy and hurt simmered beneath the surface, but when he asked Angel about Isaac, she insisted the therapist was just a professional doing his job. Angel stopped going to therapy for a while. She reassured Milton that nothing improper was going on. In April 2018, Milton, perhaps hoping to trust his wife, agreed to let her resume physical therapy appointments with Isaac. On the evening of August 1st, 2018, the Sawyer household settled in for what appeared to be an ordinary night. Milton and Angel were home alone in their modest house, a rare occurrence in such a big family. Two of Angel's teenage daughters, who still lived with them, happened to be away at a sleepover that night. The rest of their 7 children were with other relatives or out of the house. It was unusual for the couple not to have any kids under their roof, and this quirk of timing would later take on a sinister significance. Shortly after 1 a.m. in the early morning hours of August 2nd, 2018, frantic knocking erupted on a neighbor's door on the quiet residential street. The neighbor, startled awake by the pounding, opened his door to a shocking sight. Angel Sawyer stood on his doorstep, covered in blood and hysterical. Barely coherent and sobbing, Angel blurted out that someone had broken into her home and killed Milton. As she pleaded for help, the neighbor ushered the distressed Angel inside and immediately grabbed his phone to dial 911.
911, location emergency. Yes, my name is Carl. I live at 18 Darien Drive. My next door neighbor just came and knocked on my door. When I went to the door, she is crying and she says she thinks her husband is dead. Okay, so what's her address? It's right next door. Okay. She's at my house right now. All right, and what makes she think that he is deceased? She says she can't get him to wake up. Okay. She says the guy broke into the house. He has a gun. She's got blood on her face where he hit her with the gun. Was this a domestic? No, this was another guy. Another guy broke into the house? Another guy broke into the house, correct? Not your husband, just, no. She says the guy that broke into the house killed her husband. Okay, all right. Where's the other guy at right now? Where is the other guy out?
I just woke up with this all over. It's not sticked up.
I have no idea where the other guy is. Okay, I'll tell you what, for your safety, just stay in the house and lock your door and keep her inside your house, okay? Yes. We got law enforcement and fire and EMS on the way. Can she describe what the person looked like? Or does she know the person? She says the person had a mask on, correct? So, no, she doesn't know the person. All right, can she tell if he's white or black? Was he white or black? He was completely dressed in black. Said he was yelling and cussing a lot. He robbed their house, took all their money. Did he have a pistol, a rifle, or a shotgun? What kind of gun did he have? A pistol? A long black gun. He hit her really hard in the head, but it was a pistol, but it was a long one.
The county sheriff's deputies rushed to the scene within minutes. What they found at the Sawyer residence was eerily quiet, considering the chaos that had been described. The front door was unlocked, and officers cautiously entered the dark house, not sure if a dangerous suspect might still be inside. The scene revealed a ransacked master bedroom, as if a violent struggle had taken place. Drawers were yanked open, clothing and personal items were strewn all over the floor. It looked as though someone had been desperately searching for valuables, or staging a messy crime scene. Moments later, deputies made a grim discovery in the master bathroom. Milton Sawyer's lifeless body was lying face down on the bathroom floor, his head and torso partly pressed against the tiles. Investigators noticed something peculiar by the back door, however. On a table near the rear entrance, a key was sitting out in the open. It appeared to be a spare key to the house, perhaps one normally kept hidden. Angel would later explain that they always left a backdoor key on that table in case the kids came home late. But to seasoned detectives, this was a curious detail. Most burglars gain entry by force or stealth, not by using a key left conveniently by the door. Milton's body was carefully removed and sent for autopsy to determine the exact cause of death. It seemed that whatever transpired in the Sawyer home had gone unwitnessed. Angel was at the hospital receiving stitches for the cut on her forehead and treatment for a mild concussion. Detectives soon arrived to interview her, eager to hear her recollection of the terrifying night. They hoped her testimony could help identify the intruder who had killed Milton and fled into the darkness.
Before all this happened tonight, what were you guys doing tonight?
We were watching Game of Thrones. We're kind of binge watching, so we had watched 4 last night and we were on our 3rd one tonight. And he said, "You want to watch one more?" And I said, "Yeah, but we're going to get a snack." I went to open the bedroom door and this guy pushed it and he had a gun. I don't cuss, but he's legal, so he was cussing a lot. Kept saying, you know, get on the effing ground and give me all your effing money. It must be someone because he knows us, because he said, "Give me your shop keys because I'm going to go steal all that effing there, or you're the gold buyer and we'll go to the city." And
So he knew who you guys were and what you did. So when you were getting to go get a snack, and when you went to open your bedroom door going to your
he
hallway,
came right in.
he was right there. And
He was right there, scared the shit out of me.
So you normally keep the doors locked at your house?
Yep.
You know, they're locked at night?
I don't know because, you know, sometimes when that last kid leaves, you know, I usually need to go check it before we go to sleep. But we have 7 kids, so.
Who stays in the house with you guys now?
My 2 daughters are the only 2 that live there right now, all the time. But one was at a friend of her, and the other one was at her friend's at Camden, because they were gonna carpool to work tomorrow. Okay, so he pushed the door open. He forced him down on the ground. He tied his hands. And he just kept telling me to get the F down, bitch. And I didn't have anything on, so I just grabbed one of Milton's shirts before I got on the ground. He took us both into the bathroom.
Who did you tie up first? You remember?
His feet and his hands behind his back.
Who did you tie up with?
I didn't see his. I had like a black tape on my hands.
Tape on your hand.
And then he grabbed me by my hair. We were both in the bathroom. He had my hands behind my back too.
Did he put y'all in the bathroom?
I don't know how he knocked me on there or something. I don't even know. And then he grabbed me by the hair real hard and threw me into our room. Was dumping stuff and trying to find stuff and asked for the money, and then he said asked for the key again. And then he hit me really hard. My ear was just ringing, and I fell and hit my head on the corner of the table by my husband's side of the bed. He smashed the phone when I went to grab the phone. That's when he hit me. So I saw my husband's phone. And then he went back in there and I could hear them wrestling around. I couldn't get him to wake up. I couldn't roll him over because it's too big and heavy. And I couldn't get him to breathe, and then I threw up.
Was that in the bathroom?
Well, I was trying to get my hands untied. Then I went across the street to the they didn't answer. Then I finally got the neighbor next door to answer.
Were they outside? They came to the door.
They came to the door and let me in. They called the police. Just want my husband.
Is there anything about this guy that seems familiar at all?
Then he said he wanted the shop key, so I told the policeman they should catch him over there, so I told them as soon as they got there.
Could you tell if he was white or black? Did you ever see his skin?
Couldn't see under his skin. It was dark.
How tall do you think he was? Was he taller than you?
Only 5'2". I was mostly on the ground and then pushing me on the ground and he was hitting me. One time I was next to him was when he pulled me by my hair to get up. He was definitely taller than me. I don't think he was as tall as my husband. I feel like it's someone that must come in our shop because he kept saying, "Where's your jewelry, bitch? I know you wear effing nice jewelry. Probably, he's the gold buyer. You probably get all the jewelry."
Did he sound white? Did he sound black at all? Or did you think he sounded white?
I did think he sounded white.
Could you tell if he was a slim build like Aaron or bigger build like me? Or in between?
Like Aaron?
Do you know if your truck's unlocked when you first in?
Probably. We don't never lock anything. I always just check the doors at night right before we go to sleep.
I know you've been at the store. Have you had anybody come in that's acting suspicious? Like, within the past couple of days that you can think of that might?
This one guy that turned
One guy that
bought stuff from this kid that I guess uses it for drugs. What his name is. But his brother came in and demanded all his stuff back, and Milton had already sold some of it. The police told them they couldn't take it back unless they paid, since they were pressing charges against their brother. That's the only guy that's told Milton if he didn't get his Yeti cooler back that he'd be hearing from him. Finally just convinced Milton to stop doing this business. We were gonna sell it.
Well, he met a guy named Dylan. Can you describe Dylan for me?
Kind of small. He's always with this one girl. Dylan brought it to the car. I said, it looks like it came off someone's wall. There's not even a stand. You know, we got in a fight the whole way back. So I said, I don't know why you buy this shit from people. I'm just sick of dealing with drug addicts. And I always worry when we meet at Harvey's, because that's another thing.
Yeah.
So how do I know these people aren't going to follow us back to our house?
You know,
Saying it was that kid, but I mean, they could follow us back. But they always usually come in together. That girl, Dylan, and the boy, his brother, came in pissed off.
do you know what time Dylan called him? Do you know?
While we were at Ollie's,
Okay.
so maybe 7 minutes. One of them was involved in that whole CVS robbery thing or whatever, not too long ago.
Okay.
They're capable.
Yeah, well,
Dylan actually got from jail and asking Milton to bail him out. It's like, no.
wow.
And then the girlfriend came in trying to sell stuff so she could bail him out of jail.
When was this?
Right after 4th of July.
My cell phone on mine. I'm gonna put that in your purse. Is there anything else you can think of since we've been talking, Angel? I know you've got a lot going through your mind.
I just want to know where he is.
You didn't make it, right?
No.
I'm sorry.
No. Can I still see him? Why?
Detectives followed up on this immediately. They were able to identify the man in question. Dylan was indeed known to law enforcement for petty crimes, but a quick check showed that Dylan had a rock-solid alibi on the night in question. He was already in police custody on unrelated drug charges. He could not have been the masked intruder. The medical examiner completed Milton Sawyer's autopsy and delivered a critical finding. Milton's cause of death was manual strangulation. In other words, Milton had been choked to death by someone's hands, or possibly by a ligature tightened around his neck, with enough force to cut off his air supply and blood flow. This revelation sent chills through the investigative team because strangulation is an intensely personal and violent way to kill. It requires time, pressure, and close contact. It's not the kind of killing one typically associates with a panicked burglar whose primary goal is theft. Moreover, Angel's description of events never mentioned strangulation. The forensic evidence was starting to hint that this murder was not a random burglary at all, but rather an execution in disguise. With suspicion mounting, detectives turned a sharper eye toward Angel. They began re-interviewing Milton's friends and family to get an insight into the Sawyers' marriage and Angel's behavior leading up to the murder. What they learned only heightened their doubts. Milton's siblings didn't hesitate to share their unfiltered opinions of Angel. They described her as selfish and manipulative, someone who craved attention at all times and was not content with whatever Milton did for her. The family also revealed that Milton had strongly suspected Angel was having an affair in the months before his death, and that this had caused serious turmoil in the marriage. This was a pivotal lead because Angel had not uttered a word about any affair or any Isaac Melcher.
Recent thing though was I had been in a car accident and had gone to physical therapy, and my appointment had been canceled, so I forwarded him the voice message, and for whatever reason he realized that it's a guy that I'm going to physical therapy with. And obviously if you've ever been to physical therapy, you're in a room full of people. It's not like, but it bothered him. Like, he looked him up on Facebook, Sent me a screenshot of his picture, said he's attractive, and I said, no, he's not. I'm attracted to you. I love you. I don't care about this guy. But he was still having a hard time with it. He would get angry every time I went, so I finally just quit. I said, I'd rather be in pain physically than to make you suffer. If it was that important to you that I not go to physical therapy, I won't go. Everything was great. Everything was perfect. We went to the beach. I believe it was in May. We had been there about an hour or so. Then all of a sudden he became really angry, and I was like, what's the problem? Because I was facing this way towards the houses. He was facing this way towards the beach and our chairs. And he said, your effing therapist is here with his family. And I was like, so? It's a beach. It's full of people. People from Elizabeth City go to the beach. I mean, and he got really angry. He insisted that I planned it. It took a few weeks, but he eventually was like, yeah, I guess, it really doesn't make sense. Why am I gonna meet at the beach with his wife and kids and my husband? I mean, anybody that knows us that hangs out at the shop knows that I loved him, he loved me, and we were past it all. It had been months ago.
Well, did you ever have a relationship with your therapist? Do you even know his name?
Well, I mean, I saw him for 2 sessions. His name's Isaac. But, I mean, I never had any relations with him at all.
This discovery reframed the entire case. Detectives now theorized that Angel might have orchestrated the murder of her husband with the help of a willing accomplice. And if Angel was involved, the man most likely to have helped her was Isaac Melcher. The investigation swiftly pivoted to find out everything about Isaac and his whereabouts on the night of Milton's death. Isaac Dustin Melcher was hardly a hardened criminal on the surface. He was a U.S. Air Force veteran and a respected physical therapist in town, known to many of his patients as friendly and professional. Married with 3 children, he led what seemed like a stable life until he met Angel Sawyer. Just a few days after the murder, investigators paid a visit to Isaac Melcher's residence in a nearby county. Isaac, perhaps anticipating this, had a calm demeanor when deputies knocked on his door. He agreed to speak with them, denying any wrongdoing. In his initial interview, Isaac admitted he knew Angel Sawyer, but flatly denied having any romantic relationship with her. Detectives then asked Isaac the all-important question: where was he on the night of August 1st, 2018, into the early hours of August 2nd? Isaac responded with a seemingly mundane alibi. He said that on the evening of August 1st, he had accidentally damaged his cell phone by spilling water on it, rendering it unusable. Frustrated by the loss of his phone, he claimed, he decided to go out late that night to purchase a new one. Isaac told investigators he drove to a Walmart store to buy a replacement phone and some other items, then returned home. However, this story did not sit well with the detectives. For one, the timing seemed too coincidental. Isaac just happened to destroy his phone within hours of the murder of his lover's husband, and conveniently had no phone data from that critical time. Investigators knew they would need to verify Isaac's Walmart alibi. Over the next day, detectives pulled Walmart surveillance footage and transaction records for the night of the murder. Isaac's alibi fell apart almost instantly. The local Walmart security cameras and receipts showed no sign of Isaac purchasing a phone at the times he had described. In fact, it appeared he hadn't been at the store at all that night. The alibi was a lie. When officers returned with a warrant to search Isaac's home, they found another surprise. Isaac was gone. Friends and family told authorities that Isaac had abruptly left North Carolina to go visit his mother in Oregon. This sudden cross-country trip, coming just days after he had been questioned, looked a lot like flight from justice. Remarkably, a breakthrough in the case arrived from nearly 3,000 miles away, in the form of an unexpected phone call to the county sheriff's office. On August 13, 2018, a man named Louis contacted the county sheriff's department with startling information. Louis was a close friend of Isaac in Oregon. According to Louis, Isaac had recently arrived out west and was spiraling emotionally. In a moment of apparent guilt or desperation, Isaac confessed to him about being involved in Milton Sawyer's murder. Louis told the detectives that Isaac had blurted out a disturbing story. Isaac claimed he had strangled a man to death back in North Carolina and that the whole thing had to do with an affair he was having. Investigators, realizing the value of this tip, flew out to Oregon within days to debrief Louis in person. In Oregon, Louis recounted Isaac's confession in chilling detail, giving investigators the first direct window into what actually happened to Milton Sawyer. The picture Isaac painted was one of a cold-blooded conspiracy driven by lust and manipulation. Recognizing how serious the situation was, Louis agreed to cooperate with law enforcement fully, and at the investigators' request, he even wore a wire and engaged Isaac in recorded conversations about the murder.
The plan was for her to leave him, and something changed. She did not think that he would let her go, and that he would probably kill her if she tried to leave him. And I reached the place where I asked the devil to help me. Because I knew that I had to so fully turn my back on God to do this.
On that faithful night, Isaac drove to the Sawyer home after midnight, armed with his bag of supplies. As planned, Angel had left the back door key on the patio table for him to gain access into the home. Isaac slipped into the house quietly through the back. He crept down the hall towards the master bedroom, where he could hear the murmuring of the television. Isaac burst into the master bedroom. Before Milton could react, he was forced to the floor at gunpoint. Angel, playing her part, screamed and retreated as if she were a terrified bystander. Isaac ordered Angel into the adjacent bathroom to make the robbery attempt look legit. With Milton face down and compliant, Isaac pulled out the duct tape and bound Milton's hands tightly behind his back, rendering him helpless. Isaac recounted that he put Milton in a chokehold from behind and held it with all his strength. Milton struggled, but the younger, fitter man maintained the choke until Milton stopped moving.
The only reason that she had to not say anything is because there's a good chance that she would be implicated and arrested and go to jail also for conspiracy to commit murder.
Has Angel been questioned at all?
Oh, I'm sure she has, yeah. When I spoke with her, she was pretty sure that her phone was probably being bugged. She is sticking to her story. She's denying everything.
On August 21st, 2018, deputies arrested Angel Marie Sawyer and Isaac Dustin Melcher, charging both with first-degree murder in the death of Milton Sawyer. Under interrogation after her arrest, Angel's facade of the grieving widow quickly cracked.
Originally, I had some jewelry stuff I wanted to show you today and talk to you about some other leads we had. And in the turn of events this morning, Isaac has been under arrest. He's come in this morning.
Good.
So,
That's him?
well, he's said a lot of stuff about you.
About me? What?
Well, that's what we need to talk about
Okay.
and get straight. He's told us stuff about the affair, and then things about you want to leave Milton, and so we need to get all that out in the open. Like, for example, you told him that we took your phone and had your phone for 5 hours. How would he know that? You had to talk to him. That shows he's telling me the truth. This dude, for whatever reason, he's crazy about you. He's in love with you.
But that has nothing to do with me, I swear to you.
That maybe it doesn't, but my point is, I think you know what happened. You were there, you know what happened. It was a plan. He's already told us it's a plan.
I didn't
The difference is
plan
this.
anything.
I think you're afraid of him.
I'm terrified of him because he's crazy.
But you should also be terrified of him because you saw him kill your husband.
I do not know that it was him or not him. He did not address me in any shape or form.
No,
And he was,
let's get away from that.
And I'll tell you why. Because the initial plan was to give Milton pills and vodka.
was to give him pills and Vicodin. I don't even
Vodka.
have any of that.
Pills and vodka.
Pills and vodka to make it like overdose.
Yeah.
We don't even, unless we're out, we don't even drink alcohol.
Isaac told us all about when y'all met. He said it didn't turn sexual till like Christmas of last year, like the end of Christmas.
We know that he bought you a phone so that you wouldn't be communicating on that.
I have not touched a phone that he purchased. I know nothing about, I do not have a phone that he purchased or any of that. One of his messages may have said that, but I had blocked him. But I do not have another phone. I have not had another phone from him. I swear I will take a lie detector test.
I care about you enough. I want to put you in the best light. Understand that, okay?
Yes.
I believe that you were there. You know you were there. You know he did it, without a doubt. Based on everything he's told us, there's nothing you can say to me that's going to make me believe anything else. I think this person came in your house. He was in love with you and would do anything to be with you, including kill him.
But I didn't want to be with him.
I understand that. But if he's this obsessed with you, that he would do this, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't tell him no?
I didn't.
You need to put yourself in front of this. Because right now, he's trying to throw you under the bus. You understand that?
He has told us everything.
Yes, if you're afraid of him and he's done all this stuff and you knew about it, but you're just afraid of him, then now's the time. He is locked up in handcuffs downstairs right now. He is not going to come after you. But you need to look out for you. And that means you're going to have to tell us exactly what to deal with.
He is obsessed with me. You're right. And I told him that I'm in love with my husband, I'm staying with my husband, and all that. When we were having physical therapy several times, yes, there were probably 2 times that you can go ask other people, that I was crying and upset because Milton was mad at me for coming to physical therapy. I in no way, shape, or form wanted to be with this guy, ever. He made it very clear in some of his messages that he was obsessed with me. And he had said different ways of which he could get rid of him. And I explained to him that I was not interested in anything like that. I love Milton. I want to spend the rest of my life with Milton. And when he came in, it did not click with me, honestly, who it was, because it happened so fast until he was on top of Milton. And I was begging him to please stop. I love my husband. I want to be with him. Please stop. And that's when he put the gun in my head and he said, "Shut the up, bitch. This is gonna happen, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "I will never be with you. I will never be with you. You're terrifying me. I hate you." All of those things.
Let me ask you this. He knew that there was no kids that night. Did you talk to him? How did you know there was no kids there?
No, I didn't.
And that's not talking to him and, hey, tonight's a good night to do something.
No, I swear to
Did you talk to him at all?
I never talked to him. When that door opened, and he was right there, I had not spoken to him at all. It completely caught me off guard that somebody was there, and everything up until the bathroom when he was on top of him, and I kept saying, "Please get off of him, please get off of him," and he heard the TV. He asked if there was any effing kids there. He left the room. When he came back, I still wasn't real sure, but then he was like, "What, are you afraid of me now? Are you afraid of me now?" And I was like, then it clicked. He's psychotic. I mean, what is he doing? He knew that I had told him I didn't want anything to do with him.
Did Milton, before Milton died, did he know it was Isaac?
No, I don't know.
You don't know if he did? But before Milton passed, did you know it was Isaac? Because you said you were yelling at him that you love your husband.
Well, the only thing
So
was when
was he still in the act of doing stuff when you were
He was on top of him when I was telling him to get off of him, get off of him. He put the gun to my head and was like, "Shut the f up, bitch. This is gonna happen. I'm not stopping." And I was just crying and screaming, and I don't know at what point.
Be truthful about the relationship. There's more, y'all did more than talk. It was sexual, correct?
There were 2 times.
There were 2 times, okay.
Yes, sir.
Where did that happen?
At the clinic and behind COA. And it was actually 3 times. There was a parking spot on the highway on 17. It happened just a couple times, and it was at a time when things were bad in our marriage. I'm not making an excuse for it. But as far as anything sexually or anything, any kind of relationship, it has been months.
And when did he actually smack you? Because he's telling us that after everything was over is when he smacked you to make it look like you were beat up and he taped you up.
No, when he came, that's when he took me out of the bathroom and I tried to go back in to see if Milton was okay. And he said, "No, he's already dead, bitch. There's no way you can save him." And I that's when I went towards the phone and he hit me right here. The
Is that how he talks to you?
No,
Like
I've
a
never, that's what I'm saying. I never heard him speak like that, so I didn't know it was him.
So why should we believe you, who's told us at least 2 or 3 sets of lies, and not Isaac, who the only time he's ever spoken about this has just regurgitated everything that happened?
I wouldn't blame you for not believing me. I had an affair and I regretted that affair, and I didn't know the type of person that he was.
When he sent you messages about murdering your husband and asking you to assist him in that, why didn't you call the police?
Initially, when arrested, Isaac had tried to shield Angel, reportedly telling police that she wasn't involved, likely in a misguided attempt to protect her. But as reality set in and he realized Angel was throwing him under the bus, Isaac's attitude changed. Isaac testified against her in court.
She would talk about very personal things, such as I lay next to him, naked all night long, and he doesn't even look at me. She brought up again, I'm out in the hot tub naked, and that turned into her sending me a picture. And I came back in, and she was pretty much almost naked. My ability to step away at that point was gone. We started into a relationship.
You were kind of hooked at that point?
Yeah. One day, she contacted me and said, I can't leave because if I do, he'll kill me. The only way that I will ever be able to leave is if he dies of natural causes. Slit my arm around his neck and attempted to put him into a rear naked chokehold. He didn't have a pulse. So I kind of slumped over to the side, pulled my mask off, and she wanted me to hit her to make it look like more realistic, I guess. So the first time was not enough. And she knelt down and basically smacked her forehead against the corner of one of the drawers that we had pulled out.
Angel, maintaining her innocence, was nevertheless found guilty and sentenced to life without parole. Isaac, for cooperating fully, received a reduced sentence of 20 years in prison. Experts analyzed Angel's narcissism and manipulative tendencies, casting her as a cold-hearted mastermind. Isaac, on the other hand, once mild-mannered, fell under her spell, driven by obsessive love to commit unthinkable violence. Milton's murder left devastating emotional scars for 3 families. Milton's 3 children lost a devoted father. Angel's 4 children faced unimaginable betrayal from their own mother. Isaac's 3 young kids grappled with their father's violent legacy. All families involved were shattered irreparably, leaving children scattered, traumatized, and forever questioning trust. Today, Elizabeth City still mourns Milton Sawyer, the beloved antiques dealer who trusted too deeply.